Hello, and welcome to your previously scheduled, not surprised at all, Aggretsuko Season 3 review!
Ah,
Guys, we all watched something, and we're actually coming to people live, not 2 years from once. This season released, 6 months ago or something? It's pretty fast for us. It's pretty fast.
August 2020. So
over 6 months ago. I thought I was exaggerating.
That hasn't even been 1 year. I think we're gonna be all right.
I thought I was over exaggerating, but I mean that's the thing is my memory was spotty on this. But we're here, and we're ready to review more Red Panda news and questions and reviews.
When I watched through this, I then asked you guys in the Discord if you wanted to do a season 3 spoiler cast or if the Aggretsuko ship had sailed, and Liam's answer was it will never sail.
It will never sail, and also because I had watched this 6 months ago thinking we were going to do it faster. We never did.
Well, apparently we have our lucrative exclusivity deal signed with the what is it, Sanrio?
Sanrio, yeah.
The Sanrio Animation Corporation conglomerate, LL Cool J. Aggretsuko once again scared me. First 2 episodes, she gets addicted to a VR boyfriend.
Do you have a VR girlfriend?
No, but I definitely have had a productivity problem during the pandemic, and I do feel that...
There's a big difference between her and you, though, George.
Not yet.
Her VR headset... Her VR headset works.
Just wanted to... Okay. Yeah, actually, that's technically another topic, but yeah, my VR headset broke and it's back. It goes back and forth. Well, the solution this time was to plug it into a different computer. Once I plugged it into a different computer, it kicked back to life. The tracking, for whatever reason, I guess it was a USB driver conflict. That's how it came back. Anyway, Aggretsuko scared me. Because she's living a miserable, lonely, isolated existence that is facilitated by high-tech electronic entertainment like VR. And so since VR shows up in Aggretsuko, does that actually mean it's mainstream now at this point? Did it finally happen?
I feel a fair play to them. They did something different other than like an app, a mobile app-based boyfriend simulator. And I think it's quite cute the moment she's in VR. Shaking a little butt around.
I also appreciate that they kind of went through a similar arc that I feel a lot of us did in real life, where you have the naysaying friend who suddenly is convinced as soon as they try it.
Yeah, Fenico didn't last long, did she?
It was relatable, and that's what scares me.
Yeah, she kind of starts out, understandable after season 2, her and pony fella, whatever his name was.
The rich guy with the self-driving car.
Yeah. Basically, the Tesla of that world. Tesla man of that world.
She also starts a YouTube channel.
She does?
Yeah.
We're skipping over a lot of things here, but yes, I understand why you feel it's relatable.
The VR thing in particular almost seems like a gender role reversal. Like getting addicted to video games and VR and fake boy/girlfriends is totally stereotyped as a male thing. But, she's a woman, so...
I'm just going to go ahead and step in here before George goes down this hole. Season 3 was fucking great.
It was great.
It was fucking great.
It was great.
I was like,
it's
wow.
My favorite. It's my favorite.
How did they keep doing this? How? It has no right to be this good. It has no right.
It's focused. Every season focuses on an issue. Like season 1 was workplace harassment. What'd they call it? Power harassment?
Yeah, power hot up.
And season 2 was about parental expectations. Season 3 is about the idol industry and how meaningless and destructive to the people who make it entertainment can be.
But it was also about her, though.
Yeah.
A lot more about her.
One thing that I think is happening is that as the seasons go on, we are increasingly seeing how everyone lives in Aggretsuko's universe. Everyone is really, really concerned about her and her plights. almost like a cult of personality sort of thing. I guess it becomes less or more and more transparent as the show goes on. But it did seem a little weird that all her ex-boyfriends kind of gather together to save the day at the end of the season.
Yeah, they didn't even do that because, what was great about Aggretsuko and what continues to be great is that the expectation that both her and Haida would get together didn't happen.
And now Haida's a supporting character who didn't go away.
No, exactly, right. And he has his own arc in this season where he meets Inui, who is a wonderful looking lady dog.
Yeah.
And she's great, and she's obviously the person he should go with, but he can't get over his feelings for Aggretsuko. But at the same time, what's great about this is not unlike other TV shows, right? Where they would get together, of course, or whatever, and he would say, I love you, and I've always loved you, blah, blah, blah. Like, Aggretsuko's like, what the fuck, dude? Like, you think you can just come in here and, like, save me, and everything's fine, and, like, I like you, and all this kind of stuff? And especially considering what happens at the end of this season, at the end of the Idol arc. It's pretty good.
It's pretty fucking good.
It's pretty
realistic.
Good.
Again, I watched it, and I'm assuming the dub is really different, but it's fucking fantastic. It's fucking fantastic.
So the stuff that happens in the end is also, that was ripped from the headlines. Like that has happened in real life. A box cutter attack on a kind of low, not necessarily idol superstar. The season goes into the weird, surreal world of bottom of the barrel idol groups. And I thought that for as creepy as Cheetah producer Hyodo is, there were some really, really funny sight gags involving his beat up van. Like,
he's great. Like, he's my favorite character of the new season. He's fantastic.
He's so creepy.
Well, I thought he was going to be Yakuza to begin with, and I'm so glad they didn't do that because I don't think it would have been that realistic. But then him being this like asshole, just typical Japanese like sketchy businessman, and he's and finding out that he is like a window cleaner at the end is just awesome.
So to pay for the damages of a car accident, he makes her work for free. Can you do that?
And of course you can't, but Japan and people crashing into each other and stuff is a sketchy.
Oh yeah,
thing.
Isn't that like a real big deal?
In Japan, like if you hit somebody with your bike, even if you don't do any damage, most people will go to the hospital and get like really expensive hospital bills and stuff. And depending on like him, they can forge these certificates and like force you to pay lots of money and stuff like that, right? Yeah, I've always been worried about that kind of thing in Japan because it is definitely a thing. But I really liked him. He's a great character. I don't know. So Matt, he's voiced by ProZD in in English.
Oh, wow, he did a great job. Holy shit.
Yeah, and I was going to ask you. I've heard a couple of the snippets because in Japanese he's absolutely amazing, and obviously Buddy ProZD, he's a great guy, right? How is he in the dub?
Oh, he's good. Everyone's
Could you tell?
Good.
Could you tell it was him?
No.
From memes to dreams.
Holy crap! Wow. Like now that you say it, I kind of hear ProZD.
Yeah.
But it's still it just fit the character so well. It fit the character so well. The way he reacts every time they talk about his job and everything, like it just fit. And then the reveal of him being a window cleaner, like everything kind of fit the character. So he did a kind of good job. Like I don't know, that's crazy to think about. Wow, that's nuts.
Wow, living the dream.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. I mean, so we've glossed over a lot. We've gone in a lot of places. So basically, for anybody who is still listening and hasn't watched it, Aggretsuko kind of starts out pretty rough in the beginning. Obviously, whatever happened in last season 2. Then she kind of has money troubles, and then she has more money troubles because she crashes into this leopard guy who's this sketchy dude who then turns out to run an underground idol group.
Which is surreal and strange and the outlet for like a lot of good comedy in the show. The chemistry between the girls in the group and I was simultaneously laughing and also kind of shivering, being like, "Oh, this is scary." When they're talking about their ages, and there's another girl there who's like 36, and
no, like
she was
26.
36.
20,
She's like 26.
Was it 26 instead of 36 that I'm thinking of?
Yeah, 36 way too old. That's the
Yeah.
idea, right? Because she says she's 26 and everyone's like, oh my God, she's really old. And that's the kind of
Yeah.
thing, right?
That was the joke that was also scary.
And she works in a combini.
I mean, have you seen those idol girls? It's weird, man.
I guess I have, but I wouldn't know. But yeah, like when you read stuff about what happens behind the scenes and how much of it ultimately kind of goes nowhere and ruins these girls' lives, it's genuinely strange, sad stuff.
And this obsession with it is super weird, dude.
Yeah, well, underground idols is a huge thing in Japan. Like, it's huge. Huge stuff.
So one thing I wanted to ask about is what exactly is the difference between an idol group and a band? Because they do get into that. Once they start playing instruments, suddenly they turn into a band, and it's a different thing.
Well, I think it's more the metal. They're singing metal, right? Honestly, I don't know. I would guess it's because they're idols. It's less about the music and more about everything, right? With the band, you can give or take what people look like, who the member makeup is. You know, an idol group is about the idols, right? They're the reason most people watch, and then the songs and the way they dress and everything is an extra part of all of that. But yeah, it generally is about the girls, the people.
I just never thought about it in those terms before.
This season, like, it's quite crazy that they can fit so much.
Yeah.
And say so much with just a little bit of time and a little bit of episodes.
And it gets so serious.
So much. Like, I remember at the last episode, I was like, there's no way they can wrap this up. They wrapped it up. And I felt okay about it. I was like, okay. Holy shit.
I really appreciate the tightness of like every season. It's quick to watch through. The arcs are paced very well. Not a lot feels superfluous.
Yeah, and you forget the episodes are like 15 minutes, right? They're not 20. They're not the full 20. They're shorter, like 13 to 15 minutes. And
oh man,
you're like, how the hell?
What do you think something's gonna happen when kids who grow up on YouTube watching like 45-minute to 2-hour long video essays are gonna grow up and start wanting that kind of like length and scale and longevity to their media? Because I really appreciate how short it is.
I like that we live in a world where somebody could make a video essay longer about Aggretsuko, an episode, than an actual episode of Aggretsuko.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure it could be done.
I'm sure it exists somewhere.
Who's done this tens, if not hundreds of times.
I'm sure many fools have done it.
We are 15 minutes exactly into this episode now. And
you know what you would do is talk about the real life idol industry for tens of minutes at a time in your video essay, and
I think
explain every little reference. That would actually totally extend the runtime of an explanation of the jokes above the actual source material. It's so easy.
But you're like missing so much though. You're missing so much of what the character is. Like, yeah, like she was like an idol, but there's like so much character development in this. Like so much.
She really, like, it's like the climax of her and her like insecurities, and also what she likes to do, and how Aggretsuko is a character all about, you know, letting your inner self out, right? And then she starts to hesitantly in the beginning, but like starts to really enjoy being an idol, right? And people, you know, loving her and stuff like that. And that is like her coming full circle, right? And I feel fucking terrible for the way it ends and what happens to her in the last episode. It's horrible. Can't even imagine.
Yeah.
Like, that's crushing. And Aggretsuko never seems to be able to catch her break. I feel bad for her. But there's a lot of character development in this season. Like, I think, you know, Haida and Inui, like Haida's character arc is really great in this one. He's an idiot, but it's a fantastic storyline on top of that. You know, the reality of somebody is not always going to just love you, right? You know, there's going to be complications in life.
He even saves her. You're like, no, that doesn't mean that automatically a woman is gonna love you. This is not a movie, you know?
Oh God, yeah. And obviously the pig boss, he, you know, is still himself, but some things, and also that weird little meerkat fucker.
Oh my God, he's so weird,
creepy,
man.
Yeah. Not as creepy as the horse guy who tries to stab Aggretsuko, which is, you know, terrible. But
yeah. I mean, okay, when they were doing the handshake thing, when you have to buy tickets for a handshake for a certain amount of seconds, it's weird.
God.
It's fucking weird.
Oh.
It's very Japanese, I'm assuming, because that's not a thing here. And the way that guy was talking, I was just like, how does like someone not break his neck? Like, you can't break people's neck in Japan, because like I would. If I was a bouncer and I heard that,
no, they
I
have
would break
laws
his
against
neck.
that.
Yeah,
I would totally break his neck. I was like, nah, buddy. Nah, you don't get to come up in here. You can take your money and go home.
They're real. I've heard they're real strict about breaking people's neck over there.
And you're just supposed to sit there and take it. Okay.
Man,
Yeah.
I just had a flashback to when I was starting the YouTube channel, when people found out that she was in the idol group and that she was singing hardcore heavy metal, and everyone at work was watching her on her phones. That kind of sort of almost happened to me when I was working a day job in 2012 when the channel launched. They didn't pull out their cell phones, but they did say at work, my bosses were like, yeah, they described it like this. They said, yeah, we saw your college dissertation on Doom.
Oh my God.
There were a lot of moments where I was just like shriveling up because I feel for her so hard.
she does not catch a break. Poor girl.
The moral of the story that I wrote down here on my notes as I was watching it is, oh man, once again, Aggretsuko ends on a downer, a reality check where we are reminded that there is a hole in her life that society is exploiting.
Georgie. Oh my God. It's such a George answer. I like it though. I like it.
It makes sense. Because people are exploiting her into doing free labor. They're exploiting her into promoting a different girl group project she was not originally a part of and did not originally have a personal stake in. And that falls in line with the themes of the previous two seasons of her boss exploiting her and then her mother exploiting her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so I imagine that Aggretsuko is never going to be about just the love drama itself. Whatever season 4 is about, I feel is going to be another exploitive aspect of Japanese society that she'll sink her fangs into.
I don't know where they go from here, because like what happens to her at the end of this season is like the pinnacle. I don't know if they're gonna have. I always expect they're gonna have some sort of happy ending for her at some point, but then it just like crushes you fairly frequently. And I think maybe a final season will happen where she has like a happy ending, and I feel like it will have been deserved.
It better be like Attack on Titan. It better be the fourth season. I just can't see them going to 5 seasons. They did a good job making this 3 seasons, but I just, come on.
Well, maybe what'll happen in the 4th season is she'll get the lucrative Audible contracts.
She'll be sponsored by adamandeve.com for her YouTube channel.
Oh, I want to say one more thing. Don't be like Haida, guys. Don't be like Haida. Don't be a Haida.
He's an idiot.
I'm darting my eyes back and forth and sweating.
I like him, but he's an idiot.
That guy annoyed the fuck out of me.
Yeah.
I was just like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Don't be a Haida, man.
The one thing I was sad, you didn't get to see enough of the assistant to the manager and then the gorilla lady manager. Like, you don't see them enough in this season. They're fantastic. Gory and...
Yeah. The app.
Yeah, the app. It's so great. Oh.
And he got the courage from the app. Yeah. God damn it.
And then you find out that, like, the other guy had, tinkered with it to make it 100%. So it's not true. And, it's devious. This show is devious. It's great.
Yeah.
What's the name of the bird? Why is this so hard to... Is it washimi?
Oh,
Is that the name of the
washimi.
bird?
Yeah. Washimi. Yeah, washimi.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Washimi and gori.
That is harder to remember, though. I totally sympathize. I was frustrated as hell trying to figure it out because the other ones kind of sound like loan words that cross over from English to Japanese. What washimi sounds like a menu item.
You mean sashimi as well? That's the word.
Whereas gori, I can imagine a gorilla. Finico, I imagine a Finico fox.
Yeah.
There needs to be more Finico in season 4. I want to see a Finico arc.
Agreed.
Yeah.
There are some characters that get kind of put away side. Finico's arc this season, obviously, not that great. I mean, she just basically becomes what Aggretsuko is in the first 2 episodes.
Yeah.
Addicted to VR.
And tries to help Haida, and that's pretty much it. That's all she's there.
When they go drinking, that scene is so Japanese. I've seen that so many times in real life. That getting drunk and being like, "You should tell her your feelings," or like, "You should tell your boss how you really feel."
Under the cherry blossom tree.
Yeah, and they never do anything. Like when they go to the bar, it's so funny. It's so Japanese.
Yeah, you hear them say that.
You hear stuff like that, yeah. Like, when they go drinking, right? Everything comes out in Japan. That's the idea, right? Nothing gets said in the office. Nothing gets said anywhere. Then you go out drinking, and then all of a sudden everything comes out, and then that's it. It stays there, and nobody actually ever does anything.
That's what I was on like Friday nights when everyone's drinking. You start seeing the contents that was inside of them spill out onto, let's say, the side of the sidewalk or the side of the benches in the subway stations.
Yeah, but that's not. You were talking about fighting, and that is not true. That's a completely different thing.
What they have bottled up inside, they will apply some pressure during those particular moments to spew out into the world.
It's not. You're thinking of like venting, and it's not venting. It's more just like being open, right? And the things you feel every day appearing out. It's not like you're bottling them up.
The ultimate break in the ice.
Yeah. It's just like you become more open, or Japanese people certainly do.
It's not that phase where there's frowns. It's more where the blushing is happening, like, oh no, I can never tell her, like that type that
She'll
phase
never
of
love me.
The best part of the drinking, people are just being themselves.
Yeah,
man, I just wish real life was like the Japanese social standards I was raised on, where you can just be a shy, miserable boy with no redeeming features whatsoever, but the women are still gonna fawn all over you and like crawl on top of you.
I was actually playing Valheim with Pat yesterday, friend of the show. We were talking about people who only watch anime. And he said he has some friends like that, and I was like, he was like, that is the worst thing you can do. And this is it is like, like it's like they respond to things differently. It's like, and we're talking about them viewing women as like, oh, okay, whatever you do, you can do anything. You can look at, you don't even have to improve yourself in any way. They're always going to fawn over you. And it's just like, no, that's not how the world works, And
it's not how Japan works at all. Like, of course, right, in the West, that doesn't happen at all. But this perception that it happens in Japan and Asia is just ridiculous. Like, ridiculous. And it's funny because those guys, and it's mostly guys, come over and they realize that Japan is not this wonderful fantasy land where they're going to be treated like a king. The reality is way harsher than that, and that nobody really gives a fuck about who you are, white boy, right? Yeah. And just because you fucking know every episode of like
of a Sword Art Online,
of like Gurren Lagann, which is like the best anime ever, but nobody cares. And honestly, most Japanese women don't speak English and they will not talk to you because they're afraid they all have to speak English. And like,
oh, that's just normal anyway.
The reality of Japan is just so not like that. You're crazy. You think like this idea that like Asian women are submissive and all that kind of stuff is just nonsensical. And like you see in like Aggretsuko, right? The type of people that are in it. That's the reality. Like if you watch Aggretsuko and you think, wow, that's a harsh reality. That is Japan. Like, Aggretsuko is a seeing lens into Japanese culture. It's crazy. It's crazy. And if you don't like that, then you'd never fit in here.
One of the big differences that I think kind of breaks that stereotype is that, unlike in the West, Japanese women don't seem to be afraid to walk around alone in the city. Like you see children taking the subway. Even there's it's not like that over here at all.
Japan's safe as hell. It still has a problem, right? Japan has a harassment problem, like sexual harassment and stuff like that. And
oh yeah, the women-only subway cars.
Here, it's pretty fucking bad. Like, people get followed, So, like, it's pretty fucking weird here.
That does happen in Japan. There's a really, really scary video of, like, it went around, like, a couple of months ago of, like, a girl who, like, walks up to a bunch of YouTubers who are live streaming, right, in Japan, and then just pretends to be their friend, and they're, like, freaked out what's going on. And you notice that there's this guy in the background who's, like, been following her. And she pretends to be their friend, and then they suddenly quickly catch on to what's happening. And then they they put their arm around her, and they're like joking with her, and like they pretend as well. And then the guy sort of follows them for a little while, and then he disappears. In Japan, it is creepy.
Like, it's a bad enough problem that they have the women-only subway cars, and I think one of the facets you gotta account for when thinking of this is that the statistics of these crimes getting reported to the police are always, in any society, going to be underreported because it's troublesome for the victim to do that.
And also, when your entire society's run by men, these kind of things are never going to get highlighted, even if they're prominent anyway.
Why I think the stereotype about the submissive women thing is visibly false is that even though Japan has that reputation, they're still not scared. They still go out. And in a way women don't in the West.
But Aggretsuko is a great lens through which to see Japan. It obviously shows the darker side of Japan sometimes, but it's very much the reality. There's a lot of parallels. I watch Aggretsuko with comfort, even though it is weird. Like, if I was back in the UK watching Aggretsuko, I would be homesick for Japan, because it is just exactly like what I picture working in Japan and what my reality is sometimes. And I think that's why it's so great. It frames Japan in a way that no Japanese media really has before, probably outside of movies, especially not anime. Like, there's no anime that really does that. You get a slice of life anime in Japan that has always like the summer picturesque Japan, the cicadas and the beach episode and all of those things that Japanese people do in the summer, but it's very, very, piecemeally.
Watching Tenchi Muyo at the ages of like 13 going on 14 when they were broadcasting it in Toonami in the US with the English dub, right? But when you're transitioning from childhood to adulthood and trying to figure out how to talk to people and how to talk to girls specifically, that show probably damaged me in ways that I guess I would not fully conceptualize until years upon years later. Yeah, Aggretsuko is a completely different. It's way more honest and raw than the traditional anime tropey harem bullshit we're used to.
I love it. It's one of my favorite shows. I would gladly. It was a nice surprise when I stumbled on season 1 way back, and it's been good. It's been good ever since then. It's been
God,
good.
I hate that she started a YouTube channel. Oh God, I'm shivering.
You focus on the wrong things. I want to say before we move on, because we've been here for 35 minutes. WandaVision. It'll be stupid to say anything about WandaVision because it will just spoil. Watch WandaVision. It's a good show. Watch.
Well, what if you don't know anything about the Marvel universe like me?
I don't think it matters.
I've heard it's really freaking good, but that is an intimidating hill to climb for someone who has not.
It will spoil some stuff. It assumes that you have watched the Avenger movies. Yeah, which a lot of people have because it's Marvel. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I know. Some people haven't, but like a lot of people have, and that's why they can create a whole show off of like, a spoilery.
But since WandaVision is different, I'm almost more tempted to just jump into there.
Just jump in, because if you don't care about the Marvel movies,
no
then
idea
why
what's
does it
going
matter?
on.
Yeah, no. Well, like it will explain. It will show you. I mean, if you don't care about the climax of the Avenger movies and everything like that, then jump in. But if you don't jump in because it will spoil a really powerful scene. I shouldn't say powerful. This is not a fucking soap opera.
Whenever I hang out with people in real life, I really need to go through those 3 movies. Like, that would make my life easier at this point. That would open up how many other references and things I can watch and internet jokes I will suddenly get. I will be able to identify with the youth better. My life will become materially better if I watch those 3 movies, won't it?
You know, and I, not really, but like I think you would like. I mean, they're movies. I mean, they're not life changing. Like I enjoyed them because they're. I mean, the best popcorn movies you can watch. I mean, you sit there and you just eating the fucking popcorn.
Imagine working at a game studio making a science fiction game and never having seen Star Wars. Like, that would seriously impact your ability to know what you're doing in that situation.
I think a lot of game designers do that, though, right? A lot of game designers
I think tackling things that you don't have an understanding about is quite fun, especially when it's not real, right? Star Wars is not real. Doesn't mean it defines what space has to be, right? So in Mass Effect, you can create your own ideas about what space is. I don't know if that's the thing that happened, but it's funny because you talk about this because there's been a lot of the discourse. Fuck me, that word is awful. But
I can't wait for the news this week.
But there's been discourse about like people only taking cultural references from like Marvel movies and snobbish people being like, "Oh my god, people need to watch other things and high art."
Oh, that's what they sound like.
Citizen Kane. You need to watch Citizen Kane.
I think if you watch Wandavision
and Apocalypse Now, that's a true film.
And you're sad that you're an awful person. It's like, let people enjoy shit. My God.
Yes, exactly.
My goodness.
Listen. You know what you could do on Twitter? You could unfollow people you don't like and follow all the little snobby people you like. You could just do that.
So speaking of enjoying things, you guys have both been enjoying Valheim.
Hey,
yes.
I typically that sounds like a George game. It looks like a George game. The one and only thing that kept me from buying that button, clicking that button and jumping on the bandwagon is the early accessness. Tell me.
It's a really
tell
good
me how it
early
is.
access. This is really good for early access.
I think
wrong?
I think at this point, after Hades and these things, people need to stop ignoring early access. I think early access is a good sign because it means you're getting content down the line.
I'm
and a pretty
glad
polished game.
I waited on Hades though. Unlike Hades, I'm guessing Valheim isn't so strictly story driven. Like Hades has a beginning and an end, kinda,
or at all.
Okay. Yeah, like if it's an early access non-story driven game, that does break down some barriers for me. I don't want to like get sucked in, hooked into a plot, and then all of a sudden get to a screen that's like, "Thank you for playing the early version. We'll have the ending later."
It's a survival game. It's like environmental storytelling at the most. I mean, there's like a story there, but it's not.
Which I feel is the good kind of storytelling.
I like it because it basically doesn't exist. I can just it's all surface level for me to be there.
Yeah.
It's thematic storytelling, which is fine.
Historical period piece, Viking themed, open world, build a camp survival game. This sounds like my jam.
Oh,
I'm really
good.
enjoying it, Matt. How you feeling?
Yeah. I really enjoy it. I've played I think 10 hours or so.
Yeah, I played maybe 15, I think, or so.
Yeah.
Now.
Oh, okay. So you deep in. You probably went to the second boss.
Oh, there's bosses?
So I defeat the first boss. Yeah, the first world boss.
Yeah, give me an elevator pitch. I don't actually know how it plays.
You're a naked Viking. You land like you will do in all survival games with nothing, and then you kind of figure your way by building
letting
shit.
it all hang out. Okay, all right.
She got a rag. So you're not that
letting the rag hang out.
Letting the rag hang out. But you build stuff, you hunt things, and then with the leather and whatnot, you build more things. You build big Viking houses, and then you build yourself up to be able to tackle. Is it 5? There's 5 different bosses. I've only beaten one, which is the first one, Ethikir or whatever his name is.
I don't want to spoil too much, so you can just have like that open experience. But like the crafting is like you make a workbench, and then you can build a house around it, and you can do all sorts of stuff. And like if you get wet in the water, you can go by the campfire and get unwet. And if you sit by the campfire and you like sit down, you can get rest like buffs and shit like that.
Warm.
You can cook on the campfire, right? Just like you can hang cooking like right on top of the actual campfire.
These are all George mechanics.
And if you cook it too much, it'll turn to coal. Like it's just
my favorite.
Like, yeah, like it's like there's some stuff there. Now the mini map is what I want to talk about. There is a mini map, right? It only shows you. It doesn't show the other players.
That's.
But I think it's best to leave it on, George, because you can drag other like little icons and say, oh, this is where a cave is. I need to come back here. This is where a thing is. Like you keep putting little icons and naming them. It's like really dope. You could ping. You could ping on the map as well. Like, meet me here, and you could ping for all the other people to come to you. Like it's just. Like the foundation that they have for this game is quite good, right? Like I just been playing with one other person.
So that's the thing is I spent my first 6 hours playing solo. Yeah, and I was having a great time because the game, to be fair, it's just completely chill. It's really chill.
Music
is not
good.
That hard.
Yeah,
it's even if you die, it's fairly easy to get all your stuff back, and your progress isn't hampered too hard. But I did play for about 8 hours the other day. I think it was on Sunday with 2 friends. We started a server and we were having a freaking great time. And that game is easily better with multiplayer, even though it is a pretty fun time solo as well.
Yeah, man. Of course. Like one person is cutting the wood. One person is like getting like leather and deer hide. And you meet back up. You make some improvements. And then we built a house, and then we fenced the whole house. Like I kept getting wood, and Pat just went around the whole house and fucking fenced it in. I'll take a picture, and you can post it up. But like
8 hours, it was essentially we started with one that was mine, and then they quickly were like, I hate your house. So they built their own, and then we had 3 competing houses around the magic stones that where you start or you spawn. We built 3 massive Viking houses, and it looked like a Viking cul-de-sac. It was great.
Dude, this sounds like everything that feels comfy and warm about getting a Minecraft like survival village with friends going.
So that's the thing I wanted to say. So for me, I don't know how you feel, Matt, but for me, I absolutely love the building.
Yeah. It has to be stable. It has to be stable on the ground.
Yeah, it has to be stable, but it's janky as fuck, and you can like I love that you can slightly bend the rules of physics.
Yeah.
So your house can like topple over down a hill?
So like I couldn't figure out for ages why the fuck my roof wouldn't work.
Yeah.
And like as soon as I was like, why the fuck? And I was getting really angry. I was like, why the fuck does my roof keep breaking? Why can't I build my giant house? And then I started like stabilizing it with pillars, and I started like balancing things out. And I was like, oh, okay, I understand now. And I was like building bigger and bigger. But I like that you can just jankily like almost like you're nailing shit to the side just to hold it together. Like sometimes you can have like a mini plank and then just like put that across to keep 2 things together like a plaster, and just dumb shit like that. It has like a snap-on feature and stuff like that, and you can sort of get things to snap together if you've laid them out correctly, but sometimes it just is wildly janky, and like it's just a hit and hope. It's not like Fortnite or Minecraft where things are just like quickly snapping together. Getting an actual house that is like flat and parallel is really hard.
Really hard. Absolutely hard. We have like we found this big open area, like this clearing in the forest, and you see the forest on either side. Going up the hill, you see the snowy mountains, and going down, you see the water.
Oh, nice.
We just have it like right there in the middle, and we just have this huge tree like in the middle of the clearing, like, and we vowed like that no one touches the tree. The tree is never cut down because it's the most massive tree we've ever seen. Yeah. It's like okay, and it's just like a beautiful little place that we have, and we always know when we're home. It's like, oh yeah, this is the clearing. Yeah, like yeah. It's just like a lot of magic for that, and I guess that's why people like it. I'm still like wondering like why it's so popular.
Like nearly 5 million copies. That's absolutely insane.
Nuts. They must be really happy. Yeah, it's like it's not a bad game at all.
Oh man, that like those guys are set for life. It's not a big team. Like I was actually going back through some of the history of it. It was actually an alpha released on itch.io like 4 years ago. And I was looking through it, and the polygonal 3D graphical style of it still kept there. The volumetric lighting and stuff is very improved now. I really like the way it looks. I like that this combines like PS1 nostalgia for like polygonal characters, low poly, with like realistic lighting. It reminds me of why I like the way Teardown looks the other day, like using voxels and then using actual volumetric lighting and stuff like that, ray tracing. I don't know why it's so popular, because it doesn't seem like extensively better than other survival games. But the whole Viking aspect and building up to fighting a world boss, like having to summon the world boss and then fight it. It's really cool. And I will admit, the first boss fight I did, have you done the first boss fight yet?
Yeah, a couple times. Because we didn't know, like we went to another altar that you can summon him at. We just summoned him like, oh, maybe it's a different deer boss. Nope. Big old deer comes out, shooting lightning.
I mean, apart from the fact that you can, spam the arrows and win pretty easily, it's a spectacle. Like when that game has like storms and lightning and stuff, you're like, holy shit, this game is pretty. This game is rough. Those storms are loud. You can barely see in front of you. It's like, woof. This game's pretty crazy.
There's fog, and I don't know, man. It has a lot of basic things that are all together that work.
Yeah.
That it just I like it. I like it. The game always attacked us. Like, oh, the forest is moving, and all those greylings will come out and attack us. But as soon as we built the wall, those stopped.
I actually panicked.
The game is messing with us.
I built like a fence around my first solo house.
Yeah.
And then it was like, blah, 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 has called the forest to attack you or something. He's rallying the forest.
Oh, shit.
And I was like, uh-oh. And I just closed my gate and nobody could come in. You just had all these creatures outside. I actually, in the first place, I was scared. But then when it actually happened and they swarmed, it's great for farming because a load of boar come, a load of deer come, and you just like kill all the boar, get all the leather, hopefully kill the deer, which actually I find hunting deer to be really fucking annoying.
Yes. You have to sneak and get them with that one shot, and the bow sucks. The bow sucks, man. At least the beginner bow. I haven't seen another bow I can make because you have to really put it all the way up to get a straight shot.
I'm having a real chill time with it though. I don't know. There's something like I can watch TV or listen to podcasts while playing it. I set my own little goals, and then and when I play multiplayer, we're obviously progressing towards trying to take on the bosses. We're gonna go to the Black Forest or whatever it's called next, the Black Woods or something.
Yeah, and that's where I'm at now.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
I'm at the point where they keep registering, like, because you could go inside these little caves, George, like they're completely separate, and you just click it and you just load right in.
The dungeons,
little dungeons, and
I haven't even. I've only tackled one and I died.
It's pretty intense if you could get surrounded by skeletons, and they set a location on your map of where the next boss would be, and the next boss is on another island. So we like built a little house with our spawn point as our bed, and we're gonna build a little raft next time we play and sail across to the next island to fight the other boss. Like, it's just stuff like that to just like, man, this game's cool. I'm not gonna lie, I like this. I'm down with this.
Yeah, this game is cool.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's Valheim.
It is pretty great, and it's kind of nice to have like a game that just is what it is, right?
It is like, what it is. Yeah,
you're a Viking. You drop down, try to get a Valhalla, dude. I don't know. Might take you a while. Might not.
Yeah.
Just have a good time. Build some stuff. And I feel like the way the game it does tutorialization as well is really good. With the bird coming down every now and again. I actually get excited when the bird comes.
Yeah.
Because you've been kind of like doing stuff by yourself, trying to figure stuff out. And, you feel like maybe sometimes you get a little lost, and then all of a sudden you'll do something, and then either more items will become craftable, or the bird will appear, and you're like, oh, he's going to tell me what to do next. And you're like, oh, I know what I could go somewhere now, and get a little excited by Hugin coming along.
Sounds good. Good.
It's good fun. It's good. I do.
Sounds like good George fun.
I'm having a good time.
Have you guys played any games? No? Am I the only one who's played games?
I'm expanding my project to
I've just
the
been playing
Hitman
that.
trilogy.
Oh, God.
I did play Fights in Tight Spaces, which is another early access game.
Which looks really good, too.
Yeah, I haven't played much of it, but it's pretty fun. It's basically your James Bond, tactical James Bond, and you play cards, like it's a deck builder, and you play cards to essentially do attacks and stuff. I think the presentation-wise, it could do with some improvement. It's very hard to tell cards apart from each other. I think the art is quite boring, and the icons they use for the cards is not very good. But it has, and this is the reason I just want to talk about it for a second, it has 2021's best game feature so far, which is it's a tactical-based game where you do cool spy hand-to-hand combat stuff in tactical nuance, so it's quite slow. And you play like a kick, and then you play a punch, and then you play like a hammer fist, and you do a dodge, and then you do a block, and then you do a fist. But, that can take place over like 10 minutes. But once you finish that mission, you can press the show replay button. And what that does is it plays your fight in real time, just chaining all of the moves you did. And it makes it look like a movie sequence, essentially like a scene from a movie.
Like a John Wick.
Like a John Wick or a James Bond. And it's awesome. It's really cool. It's a little dodgy sometimes if you've had a round where all you've done is move around the map in really static ways. But yeah, it's when you've done a lot of attacks and you take out enemies pretty quickly, it really does look like a movie sequence. It's cool.
I can't believe no one's done a feature like that earlier, specifically Super Hot VR. Specifically, I wish I could have traveled back in time and infiltrated into the offices of that studio and been like, guys, put a replay function in and try to get the John Wick license. Because a turn-based fight that you can turn... I feel like players almost should expect that kind of feature, if that's the gimmick of the game, is slowing down a really fast fight for more strategic thinking. Yeah.
It's good stuff. That replay button is just the thing that is the most highlighted for me. Just like, whoa, that was a surprise. It's good stuff though. It's not enough to distract me from Valheim at the moment though. To Valhalla, Matt.
To Valhalla. You ever played a game, you realize when you're a few hours in, I would say a few hours in, that, why am I playing this?
Yes.
All the time.
I know George knows me. I know George. Yeah. Like, it's just Code Vein. I gave that another shot again because it was on Xbox.
This is the exact game I was thinking of.
Yeah.
When you said that.
Yeah. Because that's that type of game where you're just like, the story is shit. I mean, it's dog shit. But it has like a certain thing to it. Like, there's something there. Like, oh, maybe there's something special about it. The combat is kind of cool. You could do like certain moves. There's like little power moves. It's like if you mix Dark Souls like sort of combat, it doesn't feel like Dark Souls, like how weighty Dark Souls feel. Dark Souls and like being able to do like power-ups and shit like that. And you can keep changing like your blood code, which changes like the type of weapons and stuff you can use. I'm gonna go ahead, for people who have played it, the cathedral level is the water temple of this game. It's really bad game design. It's really bad level design. I got through it, but my God. I mean, there's multiple levels, multiple things for you to drop down. It's just, how do you not get confused, at least at the last part? That's all I'm gonna say. It's an overly long level of everything being off-white. Everything. The enemies, the world. If you ever look this up, guys, like, it's all one color. And all of them, everything looks the same. And it's a long level. It is terrible. It is terrible. Yeah, I just want to say, I'm not going to finish that game. That's why I just want to be on record and say I'm not going to finish that game. That game does not deserve me to be, it does deserve my hands on it. Okay?
Oh,
I deserve my hands on it.
At this stage in life, I think it's a seriously unhealthy impulse to be feeling an obligation to finish games because they take tens of hours. They're so long.
I know this one's long. I just know.
Games are so long.
I know this was long.
games are too long.
I think I got to like the halfway point or whatever. I beat that cathedral level and they're like, oh, and now you have to go through that cathedral again and go to the rooms those doors that you saw. And I was just like, no. No, I'm not playing you ever again. That cathedral level it's enough for me to put you down. I was like,
like a dog.
Yeah, I was already feeling like, why am I playing this? But you have that, when you're in a game, you're like, this game is not gonna beat me. I'm gonna beat this game. Maybe there's something good that's gonna happen. It was a good fight scene that happened, but like, it wasn't enough. They're still talking about getting blood beads and all this little like jargon that just doesn't make sense. And I watch people on Steam talking about this is like the best story ever, and I'm just like, come on, guys, what are you consuming? What are you consuming?
What are you
to elevate your tastes.
What are you crazy vampires smoking?
Oh my God. Anyways, well, I want to talk about a good game.
Can you guys, quick question, can you guys guess what Japan tends to call vampires?
What?
I don't know if I want to know.
Suckers. The Japanese word for suckers.
That's not a bad guess. No, they don't really use vampires. Sometimes you might, but Draculas.
Nice! That's way better than what I was expecting.
Dracula.
Wow, they just call everyone the king of vampires, huh?
Yeah, pretty much. Draculas.
I wonder if like why they pick the character and the individual. That's cute. I love that. That's adorable.
You're falling into that hole, George. The next thing you know.
Well, I mean, we can't all be Dracula unless that's literally the name for what you are. All right, so Matt, you had a good game. You had an actual good, a second good game. Come to think of it.
Yeah, exactly. Little Nightmares 2 is the game I was talking about last week.
Everybody's talking about that, man.
Speaking of cute things,
a good game. I liked the first one, and I really liked the second one. I don't get it, but I don't know if I'm supposed to get it. I never got the first one. I just understood that I was a little child doing weird shit. And this one, it's kind of the same thing, but you're playing a different character. Any game where you can slide and feel awesome doing regular things, it's an automatic win, because like it's just the movement. They have it down perfectly. It feels good to play, even that you're playing a kid. And usually when you play a kid, it doesn't feel great, but this one, they nail it, and they nail the mechanics. They nail changing each level, I guess you can call it, each stage, with new mechanics that are drastically different. And it doesn't seem like they're copying from like some other game, whatever, to like, like, oh, this is a mechanic that we've seen in another game, and here it is here. It feels fresh. I would say it ends really cool. I don't get the ending.
I don't get it. That they were all discussing it as well. So maybe that's not intentional. Possibly.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. It's like almost a time jump between like what happened and why a certain person was a something, and like it was just weird, really weird. Because like the last one ended with the little girl getting some weird powers or whatever. But like I don't know. There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on in that universe. I don't care to know. To be honest, it's fun to play, and it's weird. It's a little bit scary too. In certain parts, it really freaks you out. I would say it's one of the. I don't really get freaked out from scary games much. The last time I got freaked out was Alien Isolation, and this
that was
one
a long time ago.
That's a long time ago. No, it's not. The scary games are not really scary. Scary movies are not even that scary either.
There's that one part in Half-Life Alyx that I have.
Which part?
Not, the part. It's towards the second half of the game. There's a vodka distillery and a very distinct character inside. A sort of mini boss type situation.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about. I was never scared. I don't think I was scared in Alyx.
Well, I'm gonna say since Alien Isolation,
yeah,
I feel like I have passed thresholds of newer, more intense or scarier video games. And that was Resident Evil 7 in VR, and that one particular chunk of Half-Life Alyx in VR.
Oh, I can see
anything
that.
in
I
VR.
can see Resident Evil.
Yeah, VR really, really gets you feeling like a kid playing a scary game again.
Yeah, especially with good graphics. Oh my god.
In fact, maybe after that, like flat horror games just aren't gonna cut it. I guess we'll see. But I do have recent memories, at least. The magic is still out there somewhere.
Alien Isolation had like a VR thing.
It did. It had a really good VR mod. They almost implemented it professionally, and the modder kind of finished the job. But it is, that game looks really good in VR and plays really good in VR with the mod on.
Yeah, if you haven't played it, guys, you should probably play it. That's something you don't pass up right there. That's a good game. That's a good game right there. So I'm reminiscing, man. I'm reminiscing now. That's what happens. You get old. You start thinking about all the games that were good. But it's okay. We got Little Nightmares too. That's okay. You.
And Valheim.
Valheim is good. Valheim is good. I'm definitely gonna be playing a few more hours of that for sure.
I think I'm gonna pick Valheim up when I'm finally done with Hitman.
We should get like a server going on the Discord.
I was looking into the server stuff, and yeah, I guess you have to have a dedicated server hosting. Otherwise, one person's PC is just going to have to be on the whole time.
The whole time.
So others can access it.
I've been wanting to get a Plex server anyway. Maybe I can like build a little PC for Plex and little servers like Minecraft and stuff.
Sounds good.
Speaking of paying the electricity bill.
Hello and welcome. I'm Mad Visual. I'll be accompanying you along for this lovely message from our lovely sponsors, Nebula and CuriosityStream. They're offering a bundle that includes a year off both services for $14.79. That gets you ad-free early access to these podcast episodes alongside exclusive content from other educational YouTubers, as well as CuriosityStream's library of thousands of high-quality Discovery Channel-style documentaries made by legitimate educational institutions such as the BBC and NHK. Their lineup includes the soothing sleepy time voice of David Attenborough, and George wanted to recommend his documentary about glow-in-the-dark animals in David Attenborough's Light on Earth. So if you'd like to fill your free time with enjoying some of the most lovely documentary filmmaking online, head over to curiositystream.com/dadandsonspod. Once again, that's curiositystream.com/dadandsonspod. Have a lovely day.
Matt, I promise, the news is going to be fun this week.
Sounds like it.
Maybe what's happening is that since we don't actually have an E3, busy news weeks are now getting spread throughout the year. Because we have had something fun that, like, all three of us, at least, I guess not 2 podcast episodes ago, but there's been crazy stuff that all 3 of us have some sort of interest in happening week after week after week. So first up on our list is those Pokemon trailers that got announced. What do you guys think of the announcement trailers for Pokemon Legends Arceus and Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Pokemon Shining Pearl? Matt, I know that you have opinions about the downfall of Pokemon, and I'm wondering if you've seen these.
I've seen Legends. I haven't seen the Shining or Brilliant, but I've seen Legends, and that looks like shit.
Oh, you think so? No.
It looks like. Have you seen the frame rate on that?
Dude, no.
Have you seen the frame rate on?
It actually looks different. It doesn't look like a normal Pokemon game. Isn't this what we wanted?
It is.
I would usually be the defender, but even I drunkenly tweeted saying, yo, what up with these frame rates?
Dude, it looks so bad.
Okay.
The frame rate was so bad. And you know how I feel about Nintendo Switch graphics on grass? And my God, that grass was so bad. I was like, it's so jaggy. You could cut yourself on that thing, man.
The art, there's no art direction. It's so weird. So weird.
But you actually throw the ball with the
yes, like Pokemon Go
arc that you gotta care about, and there's an over-the-shoulder 3D camera so you can see what the horizon looks like. And
I mean, the moves still do the same thing. Yeah, the Pokemon moves closer to the person, but the moves still do the same thing. I don't trust Game Freak to do this properly. The last game was so empty.
Even with that, though, the art direction of the last one at least carried it. We're here with Arceus. I don't see any. I want to be careful, but
yes, be careful. The Nintendo guys are gonna kill us.
I don't know, with their money and the tech, like whatever proprietary engine they use internally, that is their own engine. The limitations on that thing are becoming starkly clear because indies can make better non-copied and pasted worlds than that. And this is not me saying this is weird Twitter, like, oh, what the fuck's up with this? It is actually weird seeing such a large, massive series do something, especially considering they've attempted, in the previous one, seeing Arceus and being like, oh boy, that does not look good. Like,
no.
The bit where they run through the village, like, there's no shadowing on the houses. There's no detail. It's literally flat boxes put into a field, and they're all copy and pasted. And
the trees.
It's really odd. That watching that trailer was honestly odd to me.
Yes.
I love the tweet that showed that awful picture of Mario in Unreal Engine 4 that said they finally hired that guy.
No.
But okay, I will totally concede that the graphics aren't great. It doesn't look fancy or anything, but what I think I'm caring more about is the camera angle and the moves that you see the player character doing. Like, this is at least, though I'm, not from the trailer expecting it to be fancy and polished or anything, but this is at least the direction I kind of am wanting if I'm going to pick up another Pokemon game at 30 years old.
Yeah, in terms of gameplay.
But I also need to concede that I am not a big Pokemon fan. I find the traditional Pokemon battle system really lethargic. I tried playing Pokemon Pikachu Yellow Doo-Doo, whatever it was called, and I was put to sleep. I've never managed to get into these games since I was an actual child, and I think a reboot of the gameplay systems like this is what someone like me would need to perk up my interest again. Billion kids are gonna buy this stuff regardless. Like it's reminding me of Sonic in a little ways.
It's a series for kids, right? So I'm happy they're going in a new direction. There's a lot of Breath of the Wild nods in the trailer, like camera swoops and stuff, but
oh yeah, Breath of the Wild invented that angle, right? Of someone on top of a hill. That's copyright.
I'm rewatching the trailer now, and I'm like, I'm oddly surprised that this was okay for them.
It looks very early and bare bones. I
like when they first throw the Pokeball at the Shinx.
That's what makes me hope for a better future.
Yeah, but the frame rate of that footage is low. It's sub 30.
Yeah. Oh, it is. Absolutely. It shouldn't. they felt okay releasing this trailer. They felt okay.
And it's fine, like, you know, early stuff, right? But this is Pokemon. This is a multi-million trillion-dollar franchise or whatever, right? Like 48 seconds in, if you look at the trailer, not only is the frame rate of like the character and the stuff moving, but if you look at the Shinx models, the frame rate at which their tails move is like 3 frames per second.
Okay. I'll put it this way. After seeing the trailer for Pokemon Legends Arceus, I'm ready to black out the other media of it and wait for the review score and maybe pick it up if it reviews well. The other one, on the other hand, and Matt, you have not seen the Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl trailers. Let's get you going on that.
Oh my, sorry. Look, one more thing before at 1 minute and 3 seconds in, there, I think it's a Hoppit is flying in the air, and the frame rate at which the Hobbit flies in the air.
Yeah. This is what I'm doing. This is what I'm doing. Like this. Yeah. Yes. It's bad.
It's like lagging. What the hell? This is insane. How is this allowed? It blows my mind. I would never, if this was my game, no fucking way. This would never, ever get past.
I say this for the 20th time. Whoever edits these trailers, no, this is not what you do. This is not what you do.
Oh, maybe they could speed the footage up to make it look smoother. Put it through an AI interpolator just for the trailer.
And it just looks so empty. Like, it's so, oh man, it's so weird. It's such a weird trailer to me.
As the resident anti-hype asshole of the podcast, I do feel it is important to say that trailers do not represent the final quality of a product, and we've been through that drama a jillion times before since the invention of trailers themselves.
But on the opposite end too? Jesus Christ.
The reaction to this could, as has happened before in the past, Sonic the Hedgehog the movie, the reaction to this could push them to take a different direction for the final product and delay things until it needs to be more polished.
But the reaction to this is like,
and they'll make millions and they won't.
The reaction to this is not bad though. It's not bad. Look at the dislike bar. People eat this shit up, man.
Yeah. Okay, on YouTube, it's not bad. On Twitter, it is. And I feel like that's also evidence of how the SEO algorithms work and how you can buy likes and subscriptions on YouTube, and you can't do that as easily on Twitter.
Yeah, but Twitter is also, you got to remember, Twitter are people who play Pokemon for years and years and years and who are not really the audience anymore. It's people like us just giving opinions about video games.
You can also, as a YouTube channel, delete negative comments. So what you're seeing on the YouTube analytics is not necessarily representative of...
But the dislike bar, though. The dislike bar you definitely can see.
But I'm looking at the IGN. This is IGN. IGN are not going to delete negative comments and buy likes for Pokemon. They're not going to do that.
Oh yeah, it is IGN, isn't it?
Yeah, it's only 2K dislikes.
But IGN would still, I would imagine, moderate their comment section.
Maybe the bar was set so low because of the last Pokemon game being so bare bones that this is like, oh yeah, innovation. This is innovation for them.
In any case, speaking of the other end of the fence, the exact opposite of innovation, and something that I think we'll get some giggles out of. Are you ready to start that Diamond and Pearl trailer?
Yeah, I'm in there.
I think this one is fine. It just looks boring.
Oh, you think that looks fine?
At least it runs at a frame rate and has an art direction to it.
Oh, it better, because
contrast on it is pretty heavy, huh?
I'm not a fan of the chibi nature of the characters. Like, and what is frustrating about this trailer is that it starts with the pixel art of the original. And I'm just like, oh man, I'd rather just have that.
I just can't believe this is a Switch game. It doesn't look like a game of a similar camera angle and art style. It doesn't look as good as Animal Crossing. It doesn't look as good as the Link's Awakening remake.
But it looks as good as Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu.
Yeah.
And that was a remake.
And I think I'm having a similar reaction to this trailer that you guys were having to Arceus.
But at least, like, the Pokemon are running at animation speeds that match the game.
Yes.
You're thinking about just the gameplay. You're not thinking about the way it looks. Like Arceus, obviously.
Well, and the art style. Like any shots that involve trees, like those copy pasted. It looks like a tile set.
But it is because it's matching the original game, whereas Arceus is an open world game where you would expect a more natural environment, where Arceus has copied and pasted assets all over the place, including the houses, which look really strange. Whereas this is copying a tile set of pixel art. Makes a lot more sense because the locations of all the trees and the houses are going to be exactly the same, right?
But we've seen examples of how to make a remake of a 2D game with a tile set that can still look organic and not as repetitive as what we see here.
Like what?
Like the Link's Awakening. Link's Awakening has a gorgeous art style that doesn't have this copy-paste.
That's Nintendo, EPD.
First party. Yeah, this is technically the Pokemon company. It's technically not
Well,
Nintendo.
this is Game Freak, right? So,
right.
Man.
I think this game looks better because it has a direction. I think Arceus is going off on one that they don't know what they want yet.
Arceus looks like the overambitious fan project, and that's why I think I'm into it. Diamond and Shining Pearl, to me, looks like a quick and dirty remake of a gameplay style I'm already not that big of a fan of, and so I'm like, I know I'm out. Like Arceus, I'm curious about. The Diamond and Pearl thing, I don't have time for that.
I like how the characters look, but there's this shot where you see the forest in the clearing, and there's like 4 characters on the screen, and then you see the water on the top left. That shot right there, it doesn't look good with the trees. And it just doesn't look good.
I don't think either look great.
But when they're in the snowy area, everything like else, it looks okay. But every time that there's trees, it just looks off. And like they need help. Like they need help, right? They need more people or different people. Like I don't understand what's happening. What's happening with Game Freak?
I don't.
Because it's like, it's part of, this is Pokemon. This is not like, I don't know, like Soul Calibur. This is not like a niche thing. It's Pokemon. I don't know. Whatever. It doesn't matter. I'm not going to play it.
We're going to jump from that into another trailer that caused a big splash. Leaked footage of Elden Ring has appeared on the internet yesterday.
Wait, what?
Monday, March 1st, the day before we record this. It's a shaky cell phone camera video that is extremely blurry of trailer footage that has the word confidential stamped across the screen about 80 times in a grid pattern. I think that's hilarious. It's almost like a Simpsons gag. The more times they post confidential on the screen, the less people will be able to watch this video, I guess, somehow. Yeah, it looks more or less as advertised, as expected. It looks like a Dark Souls game with a bigger world that you sometimes trot through with a horse. Have you guys seen this stuff?
No.
Yeah, I feel so bad for Namco Bandai.
Why? Everyone's real excited. They love this shit. Fans are ravenous about this trailer.
Yeah, but they've seen it. Imagine working on a fight. Like, you never think of, like, how people want to see their content presented. Like, imagine somebody watched your YouTube video through a fucking, like, iWatch or something like that.
Yeah, hell live.
Potato fucking footage of what you've been working on for fucking years. Some dickhead decides he knows how to do things better and records your trailer on a fucking potato phone from, like, 1995. Like a dickhead.
It sure did help trend the Elden Ring hashtag for a day
and
engage the commercial community.
People have jobs like PR and marketing, and people whose jobs are specific to create these things and then release them and build hype around it. Like to lead.
Yeah, well, they'll live.
Oh, George, honest to God, like take your head out of your ass from a consumer standpoint for sometimes and think about people who make shit for a living. Right? You never do. You do this every single time, right? People's jobs, and it is their work to do these things. That trailer will lead to call to action stuff like wishlisting or pre-orders and stuff like that. And it's really important making games to do it because usually you only get one chance. That first announcement trailer or whatever, right? People spend fucking months making these things. And then it's the same with the Naughty Dog stuff. It's the same when any game gets leaked. It fucking sucks. It really is like a huge change to how things have to proceed forward. I don't know what's going to happen, especially considering it seems like it's Namco Bandai who got it, like Europe or whatever, got it leaked or whatever. Dude, Japanese devs are not going to abide by that. Like, whatever is going on in From Software, they're probably not very, very happy people, right? And people might lose their jobs over this kind of thing. It sucks when this happens. There are massive repercussions other than people just being able to see shitty footage of Elden Ring. You can't tell me you watch that and be like, this is great. I'm so happy I just saw this. Instead of waiting for an official trailer and being like, now I've seen Elden Ring in 4K and I'm excited. You could barely see anything in this footage.
I can't see the animations, and that's really what I want to see. I want to see if it looks and feels like kind of like how Sekiro felt, like very loose.
Well, you do get to see the classic Dark Souls door animation. You see some Torch Souls play. There is a jump that looks an awful lot like the Dark Souls 2 jump.
There is one spell, like a homing spell, like I can't remember what it's called, homing mass or something, where the 4 dots appear around you. That's the only other noticeable thing I can see from Dark Souls. There's a lot of like continued Berserk inspiration, like the big tree at one point.
Berserk?
Barely see anything.
Yeah,
Berserk,
I can't really tell. It looks pretty loose in the section where you start seeing the witch. But then it gets a little static near the end. I don't want to play Dark Souls. I want to play the new shit.
Yeah,
I just want to play new shit, man.
Was a little. I don't know if I have the energy for another one of these mountain hike climbs.
Oh, Sekiro mountain hike climb?
I don't know. After Sekiro, I'm even more excited than if it was a Souls game.
I think the footage of the horse riding is a little more interesting to me because I do find it harder to imagine a Dark Souls style combat system where things are slow and heavy and so focused on those one-on-one duels. I do find it interesting to imagine how they could have you on a fast horse running through enemies instead of staying there and dueling with them. That does look different, but yeah, the on foot stuff seems a little too familiar.
I don't want Dark Souls. I just hope that it's not Dark Souls. I want Bloodborne or Sekiro.
You know what though? None of that's gonna matter because this thing is gonna sell gajillions. Already, the hype for this game is through the roof. I seriously couldn't believe how much people... maybe you can at least sympathize with me on this, Liam, is that...
I can.
I do think it's a little silly how much people cared about this incredibly blurry footage of a game we've played before.
I have so many weird thoughts about this because the people who essentially drew people to it are VGC and obviously Jason Schreier, right? And Andy, who does VGC, is somebody I really respect and really like. I did a podcast with him actually recently, right? And like these trailers were really hard to find. There were threads and threads, like threads in 4chan and Resetera and everything of people trying to find it. Right? Because they were not easily...
They stamped confidential on it a lot.
But the point is they were not easily found. It wasn't until it was highlighted that they existed that then people just literally dig. Supposedly, this leaked trailer has been floating around in some forums and stuff for like a month. So it wasn't until it was highlighted. I feel like nobody gains... Like, those websites gain traffic, and I understand they need to exist like that. And then Resetera gains traffic, and then everybody gets hyped because it means that Elden Ring still exists. I get that. Everybody's excited. No one's heard anything about Elden Ring. But of course, that trailer being in the fully fledged form that it is means that something is coming, right? At some point. And I just can't help get over but feel for people when they get their stuff leaked like that. Especially when you build up like big campaigns to do these kind of things. And I guess the only positive you can glean from this is that the response was people were like obsessed with trying to find it. And it's kind of hard to pass through whether they were excited about Elden Ring, because of course, but also because the fact that everybody was just ravenous to try and find the video. If the video was just freely available from the beginning, I don't know how much of a stir this would have caused, because I think people who were not that interested would have just not watched it. But I think the sort of hype of like, where is the video? Let's try and find it, was also a part of what caused that massive silliness, I think.
I made a tweet saying that the hype culture behind Elden Ring is going to be pretty bad, and that blew up. If you tweet about this game, the Dark Souls Twitterverse is going to jump on you and discuss. There's a post on Reddit on the /r Elden Ring subreddit with my tweet. I just want to point out that I'm sure it's going to be fine. Yes, FromSoft makes good games.
And this is a thing, and this is why it's another important thing. If you were worried about Elden Ring after seeing fucking a minute of potato footage cut together, you're an idiot. Just wait to see fucking...
The footage looks fine. The game is probably going to be fine. What I'm concerned about is, let's say, a Dark Souls 2 situation. I am of the opinion that following a game's pre-release marketing materials is a bad idea because you're going to start building expectations in your head about what the product's going to be that's not going to be representative of the final product. And when I was growing up in that coming-of-age experience, GTA 4 and Twilight Princess were the two games that really disillusioned me to games marketing because I feel like I would have enjoyed them better if I did not consume that stuff as fervently as I was back then. I was a huge Zelda fanatic as a kid. I reviewed that 2004 Twilight Princess E3 footage like I was looking for aliens in it. There was a few frames of Link shooting a bomb arrow at a moblin, and I was like, oh my god, the game's gonna have bomb arrows. And it ships, it doesn't have bomb arrows. And Dark Souls 2 is a game that I enjoyed, and I know I'm in the minority on that. But I swear, one of the reasons I did, and also one of the reasons I enjoyed Pillars of Eternity so much, is that I was going through those games blind and in a kind of media blackout environment. And under those conditions, you realize how much of these impressions is in your head. Game design is subjective. Game quality is subjective. Engineering your expectations to a place where you are better able to enjoy something rather than criticize something is what I think is ultimately going to make you happier throughout life as you play through games you're looking forward to. I was looking forward to Total War Troy. A lot of people were disappointed by Total War Troy. I saw one cinematic CGI trailer and then waited for review scores, and when it got mid-80s, I was like, okay, that's safe for me to pick up. I'll go through with it. And I was happy!
But also, you got to remember that a part of being a part of the hype cycle and people looking forward to these things is part of the enjoyment of the experience of the game, right? Some people, inevitably, the game releasing is just a means to an end. It's the hype and the build-up and the excitement, and that is kind of the fun for people, especially when it comes to stuff like this, which doesn't come around that often. I think of fighting games and releasing characters, right? That essentially is marketing, but it's also some of the most exciting parts, Nintendo Directs and that kind of thing, right? You remember a moment in time when Final Fantasy VII Remake was announced on the E3 stage and all that kind of stuff, right?
Oh yeah, I made a video everyone really hated.
The game itself isn't exactly just the only part where your fun and excitement can begin. People, on the Elden Ring subreddit who obviously go crazy and stuff like that, being a part of this community and stuff like that is the fun for them. And I don't think it's completely okay to just be everyone's stupid for believing marketing hype or getting invested before the game gets released and you should go in blind and stuff like that. I think it's just personal preference, maybe? I don't know. Some people like the hype.
I think it's an issue of moderation. That getting involved in this stuff, I have always found it mentally exhausting. The dramas around trailer downgrades and how kind of creates this culture where people are expected to nitpick over trailers and put the footage under a magnifying glass.
I mean, when people go back and do that crap thing where where's the Spider-Man puddles gone from E3 2009, right? That kind of stuff. It's oh God, get over it. The game's out, right?
And that happened with Dark Souls 2. The counter argument to my argument is, no, it's fine. We're making a good bet. It's okay for us to get hyped because FromSoft has a good reputation. That drama, that mentally exhausting drama that I'd rather not participate in because I feel it does make your enjoyment of the game worse, did happen with Dark Souls 2. I think Dark Souls 2 is fine. It has some ugly moments, but so does everything in life.
I think that's only for some people. Sometimes people can be hyped for something and be totally okay with it being disappointing, and they can go on with their life. Some people can't.
Not us YouTubers.
Yeah, but also some people can never not look at a trailer and never not consume stuff
Because, if a YouTuber watches a trailer and expects the final game to look exactly like it, that's a 30-minute video. That's thousands of bucks of ad revenue. There is a commercial incentive, a real commercial incentive, a conflict of interest between enjoying the game blindly and comparing it to the marketing materials. Like, there is money to be made by doing that on YouTube.
Man, that's such a boring YouTube thing. Man, gosh. Back in the day, YouTube was creative. Back in my day, we used to actually work and actually create good content, right, George?
Shut up.
I think you're right, George. I do, but I also think there is, like, with anything, there is just two extremes on either side.
Yeah.
And these people are mostly on the extreme of the other side. There's this majority that just exists in the middle where if I saw the Elden Ring trailer tomorrow, I'd be like, damn, that game looks pretty tight. And then wait until the game comes out.
And those people are going to characterize my side as being like an extreme Luddite, when the reality is I do watch trailers. I just make a conscious point not to watch too many. Like, I'll watch 2. I really fucking enjoy Kojima makes the best trailers. Like you gotta watch the Kojima trailers if you're ever gonna spoil yourself of what a game. That's another example, I feel, of how expectations from weirdo marketing campaigns ends up getting turned around to make people think the game's something it's not, as Death Stranding.
But that's the point, right? Something like Elden Ring doesn't come along that often. I think if you saw the James Bond trailer from, IO Interactive tomorrow, you'd be like, oh, I'm gonna watch that, right?
Didn't Sekiro come out 2 years ago?
Sekiro came out in 2019, and Elden Ring was first announced 2 years ago, or a year and a half ago, right?
They've been churning out Souls games pretty regularly. I think they do happen often. It's a bi-yearly event. And then there's the DLC releases between those 2 years.
Well, it's not like a Call of Duty trailer.
Sekiro didn't get any, did it?
No, Dark Souls 3 did, though. Dark Souls 3 had a lot of places in the news when Sekiro came out.
Where was Dark Souls 3? 2017 or 20? I think it was 2017, right?
Yeah, they had like 3 big DLC releases, though, going over the following years. And they scored pretty okay, not as good as the Dark Souls 2 DLC, but I am surprised they didn't actually do more for Sekiro, come to think of it.
Oh, which is sad, because that game's still fantastic.
Yeah, it's...
Jason Schreier has a scoop.
Good old Jason.
About Dragon Age 4.
Ooh.
He is saying that according to people familiar with the matter, EA originally was planning Dragon Age 4 to be a live service game. And I'd really like to know more about why he decided to choose the word allow here, because that makes it sound like EA was forcing it to be a live service game, which I can't imagine happen. It just sounds like the amount of control publishers have over beloved franchises may even be worse than I was previously characterizing. The language in the article, I'm going to read the exact article and then let's bullshit each other over it. According to people familiar with the matter, the next Dragon Age, which does not yet have an official title or release date, had previously been designed with a heavy multiplayer component, said the people who asked not to be named. In recent months, it has transformed into a single-player only game after EA was stung by a recent multiplayer flop. The flop in particular being Anthem. 2 recent games changed the mind of executives at EA. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order was seen as successful enough for them to redirect it into a single-player direction. The next Dragon Age first entered development into 2015, which is a long-ass time ago. But in the fall of 2017, EA and BioWare rebooted the game to push for long-term monetization. This change led to the departure of creative director Mark Laidlaw, who was the writer of the Half-Life series, and a novelist for some other projects, but did not work at EA or BioWare for very long at all. This change led to the departure of creative director Mike Laidlaw and caused some employees to dismiss the game as Anthem with Dragons. Some members of BioWare's leadership fought to pivot the next Dragon Age back to a single-player only game, according to people familiar with the discussions. So yeah, what does Schreier mean by saying this is EA's allowing them? Because I thought the general practice was that, like, you present a proposal to your publisher and they greenlight it or redlight it, rather than the publisher being like,
nah, this makes total sense to me. Like, we're talking about timelines. Think logically for a second. 1, 2015, Anthem's being made. EA thinks Anthem will be the next hot shit. Okay, well, so what makes sense? Well, let's create a Dragon Age that has similar veins to whatever Shadow of War, the Lord of the Rings game was doing, which also got slated for its loot boxes, but had them. And also, they wanted to probably follow in the footsteps of Anthem, right? Switch to 2017, right? Most recently, after 2017, so when Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, Anthem has come out, has been a massive disaster, has made, probably no money for them at all, and games like Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order have probably made a fair bit of money. And also, they've probably thought about it and been like, well, Dragon Age Inquisition also made us a fair ton of money and is a single-player game. Anthem was garbage. It probably makes a lot of sense. It seems like just logical EA business decisions from their standpoint has all come to a head. And you're right, George. I think publishers do have complete and utter control, and they probably will force these things upon them. No doubt. I mean, yes, you'll have proposals, but whether how much control you have over that, I doubt there isn't that much, to be honest.
Using the word allow and forbid, I'm literally picturing EA submitting their proposals to BioWare, and EA being like, no, we're not going to submit you a Dragon Age 4 unless it's a live game. That's topsy-turvy.
No, I think it's more whatever ideas they had for Dragon Age after Inquisition, they went to EA, and EA was like, great, now, what if you do all of that, but it's multiplayer, and there's loot boxes? And then BioWare will be like, well, we probably don't think that's the way forward. It doesn't quite work. And they'll be like, well, we think it is the way forward. Look at Anthem. Look at that. That shit's going to be the hardest shit. That Bob Dylan ass crap over there, that's going to be amazing. And they're like, oh, okay, well, maybe we can stick with Dragon Quest IV ideas from this. And they're like, you can do that. Just don't forget to do all the other stuff that we want you to do. And here's the funding.
Yeah.
Aimed at some simple sometimes. EA, of course. In the past 10 years, not great.
Kudos to Laidlaw leaving out of the principle of the art, but at the same time, I feel really bad for people who, didn't write the Half-Life series and don't have that kind of security.
Yep. People never think about the jobs. Also, did we talk about it last week? But Anthem got cancelled, right?
Yeah, Anthem 2.0 is dead.
Anthem Next or whatever.
Damn.
More confusingly bad news. Sony is downsizing their first-party internal Japan studio, which I guarantee has made many of our and our listeners' favorite games. If you think of a first-party Sony title over the years since the invention of the PlayStation itself, chances are it's somewhere on this list. Sony's internal Japan studio has released a statement to IGN saying that they are recentering to Team Asobi, the creative team behind Astro's Playroom, allowing the team to focus on a single vision and build on the popularity of Astro's Playroom. The vast majority of Japan studio staff were being let go as Sony decided to not renew their annual contracts, which run until the end of the fiscal year on March 31st. Some staff have been reassigned to Team Asobi, while others are reportedly joining Boca, a new studio founded by Silent Hill and Gravity Rush director. This does bring up a very good question, though, that I've had all these years. And that is exactly what Japan Studio is. Is it a room you can walk into? Is it a floor of an office building? And where the line blurs between the other developers they participate with? So I linked to a big list of games they've made, or at least supported, right? Because I think that's kind of the distinction I want to ask about here, is where the line for a game like Bloodborne, for example, where the line blurs between Bloodborne being a FromSoft game and a Sony Japan Studio game. How the corporate hierarchy works here, what the terminology means, and, what we can expect from the future.
I mean, it's probably a bit of both, right? It's like you'll have the first-party games they work on that they make themselves, like Gravity Rush, and those series. And then with Bloodborne, it'll be development support. Very similar into how Nintendo owned companies work. Intelligent Systems, and then also Goodfeel and Next Level Games. How sometimes they'll make their own games, and then they'll be doing development support on other games. And I imagine if you went through, you'd find a whole host of things. This is really sad. we were saying this was exciting news. All of these stories are basically devs just either losing their jobs or getting shot. This is lame. This is fucking lame, and this is awful. Like, this is Sony Japan Studio are a really iconic studio, and they have been around for a real long time, and they've been doing stuff in some form or capacity since the 90s. And Team Asobi are doing amazing work, right? Obviously, the Astrobot stuff is really good, and Sony sees a lot in that. But when it says most will let go, and like it means most will let go. I can imagine Team Asobi probably hired a few, and Bokeh are a new studio that are not that big. Like, they're like 10 people. So they probably hired like 2 people from Sony, right? So this is just sad, right? You think of all amazing games like Lokoroko and Patapon and Wild Arms and Bloodborne and...
Yeah, the implication is we're going to be seeing less of that and more like Naughty Dog style partnerships.
Oh, well, it's weird because I don't know where Sony get the money for Naughty Dog and can't run Sony Japan. It's super weird, but
I guess the profits for the standout examples of the past couple of years, the God of Wars, the Spider-Mans, the Last of Us 2s, I guess it ultimately dwarfed whatever was happening at Japan Studio.
I can't remember what the last thing they worked on was, but I mean, you're probably not wrong.
No way! According to Wikipedia, it's the Demon Souls remake that everyone loves so much.
Well, they probably did development support alongside, of course, the actual developers, which was Bluepoint. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a Bluepoint game published by SIE. And, when you look at the Wikipedia, this is part of the confusion, is that when you look at the Wikipedia page for the Demon Souls remake, it says the developer is Bluepoint and the publisher is SIE. When you go to the Wikipedia page for Japan Studio, it lists Demon Souls as their last game.
Yeah, because they probably did development support in some way. I mean, it's quite common, and they get credited as such. Yeah.
Well, I guess technically it would also have been Astro's Playroom, because they were both launch titles, weren't they?
Yeah, I mean, Team Asobi were a Japan studio team. So there is a team inside that were doing really successful. They decided to cut all of the fat and essentially rename Sony Japan to be just Team Asobi, I guess.
Team Astrobot. The Astrobots are neat, I like them. I think they're neat, but yeah, when you scroll down the list of Japan studio games, it's enormous. And it is really sad how much smaller that list gets in the 2010s. But a hell of a lot of like mascot quality PlayStation brands, which the Astrobots nowadays are on here. Like Ape Escape, Everybody's Golf, so many classics, so many.
Bleach, Heat the Soul.
Oh, the Team Ico games, the Shadow of the Colossus and Ico and Last Guardian. So last but not least, I'm going to try to be fast about this because we are running out, is an incredibly strange story. This is I can't believe the balls it takes for the company to try to get away with what they're trying to get away with, according to the people making the allegations here. A developer named Frogwares, who makes detective games, they previously made a lot of Sherlock Holmes games. They released a game called The Sinking City that was a Lovecraft detective game. It released in 2019 to all the usual platforms, PS4, Xbox One, and PC. The PC release was a 1-year Epic exclusivity store contract. And after that, their distribution license with their publisher was supposed to run out. But their old publisher ended up, according to Frogwares, pirating and then modifying and then illegally uploading and selling the game on Steam.
Bizarre.
What the hell? How do they think they can get away with that? How did they weigh the risks versus the benefits of that decision and then come away thinking that they should still go through with this silly plan?
Seems like they think they're going to win that court case. Who knows?
Frogwares has made a video and a blog post in which they very confidently show why they think they have a case here. They show some video footage of how the publisher supposedly just swapped the logos out in the beginning of the game when you boot it up. How the version that they're selling doesn't have some live UI widgets connected to the Frogwares servers, like the legitimate version they're showing off to compare. And how they can kind of sort of modify the existing Steam version with some encrypted encryption key dev tools that I don't know much about, but otherwise supposedly show that they were the developers of this game that got uploaded to Steam without their permission.
I mean,
yeah, what the hell?
I don't understand. Like, if Frogwares did it, then they will have all the assets. So how could they not prove that they made the game? It's really hard to fake that you made a game. How would they not have a case?
The best way to explain it would be like, imagine if BioWare and EA fell out and BioWare like bought a version of Dragon Age 4 and then decided to sell that version of Dragon Age 4 after modifying it on Steam, and BioWare couldn't do anything about it. That's what's happened here.
I thought the contract ran out, though.
Well, that's the thing. That's the dispute, right? So that's why Nacon and Frogwares are fighting. So that's maybe Nacon are really confident in that French court case. But Frogwares are the developers. So I don't know. I think Frogwares might hopefully win.
I'm so confused on how someone could get away with like blatantly just robbing someone's work.
They've been around since 2002. Like, they're not some little unprofessional troll account on Steam. Like, they're a big company.
This goes to show part of the problem. Steam, man. Steam just lets any garbage on there these days.
Frogwares has said that they quote, trust Steam to resolve the issue as they further settle this legal dispute.
Yeah, okay.
Steam's like, is the game making money? Yes. Well, I don't care then.
Yeah. What if there's something like wrong with the game and it needs to be patched? Like, what did they do? They're gonna have their hackers patch the game? Like, I don't understand. Like, I don't understand how this works, but I guess it doesn't really matter.
I don't think they do either. I think no one being able to understand how something like this should work is why it's illegal. This is so weird.
I can't even take it seriously. When you sent that in the Discord, I was like watching it and I was like, wait, what? I thought it was a joke.
Yeah.
I was I was so confused. A company hacking the game and putting it up on Steam. It just seems so off.
You can't tell if it's a joke anymore. We're in the post-truth era, my friend.
I kind of don't like the Frogware video. There's a Peggy 18 in the beginning of the video. Like, why is there that there? I don't know. Is it going to show footage of their game? It's just like, just start the video.
Or maybe just if they want to show it in court or something.
Yeah, maybe they reread the fine print and just want to make sure they're covering every base while doing this allegedly publishing your case to the public on the internet thing that I swear you're not allowed to do when you make court cases against people. So there's an element of them, maybe, I don't know. It might be different in the French and Belgian systems than the American ones, but
oh, you're not? Oh.
Yeah, that's one of the criticisms that was pointed towards Epic in their lawsuit against Apple, was them kind of going public with their argument and their evidence, and then getting the kids riled up with this free Fortnite hashtag. Yeah, remember when Jim Sterling got sued by Digital Foundry and people still don't really know the details? I mean, they might, but they're not publicized that heavily.
Yeah.
Not Digital Foundry. Somebody else. Not
Digital Homicide. Digital Homicide.
Yeah.
My bad.
Not Digital Foundry. Jesus.
Yeah.
I can imagine breaking news. Super Bunny Hop accuses Digital Foundry of suing Jim Sterling. Oh, actually,
oh my God. If you get in the news for some bullshit like that, I'm going to lose my mind.
Digital 3-syllable second word. Sue me. I'm sorry. Oh my God.
It's just like that joke that got popular when Strider was saying like, oh, they canceled Elden Ring.
Oh yeah, and then someone wrote an article quoting Jason Schreier as
off a
saying,
joke.
No.
Man.
So we don't have a lot of time. So I'm going to start us off with a very, very short listener question. Mr. Bubbles is doing something that a lot of our listeners should do, and that is submit a question to our Patreon Discord. Mr. Bubbles wants to know, what do you guys prefer, phone calls or texts?
Phone calls.
Oh, fuck you. No. Get the phone call, garbage communication.
Phone calls are garbage communication?
Phone calls are going the way of the dodo, my friend. The future is now, old man. Phone calls are dinosaur. It's a dinosaur way to talk to people.
I am Old school. I'm the oldest one on this podcast, right? That's what we established, right? I think that's what happened.
I don't know. I have no idea.
Preferably neither.
Yeah, no. I like phone calls. I like phone calls better.
Why?
No, listen. If it's just like when me and my best friend talk, we text sometimes. You know, it's just quick thoughts. But there's nothing like a good session of like talking about a bunch of shit really quickly on a phone call. Texts just take too long. When you're dating someone, phone calls are better.
That I can agree with. But in general, I don't like either. Really Facebook Messenger is like a void to me. Like my mom will message me and it'll take me like a week to reply. Like I just can't find the space or energy to be able to reply to these things. And I much prefer reading than replying. And it's the replying part that's hard. Like I like reading like group chats and stuff and catching up with people. But it's the replying part that's hard. So with a phone call, like I feel like I'm stuck in one place at a time that I haven't necessarily chosen for something I can't ignore, where I have to be replying and talking about something. I don't know. Text, give me the option to ignore now and do later, or just ignore entirely, and then, you know.
I like how with the written word, all you have to do is just look at it. Like, if I'm talking to someone, I'm stretching muscles. Like, my throat and my esophagus are moving. That takes energy. I have to eat food to do that.
Also, I live in Japan, so texts tend to be like stickers and emojis and not actual words. So I could just reply with a picture of Kirby and someone gets what I mean.
I wish we had that. Those Kirby's are good creatures.
I do understand George being a text person, though, because my God, does that boy like to write.
Yes. I prefer text in general over video. One of the great big generation gaps is me not liking video tutorials. I'd rather have text tutorials.
Oh, I'd much prefer video tutorials. But Matt, I don't blame you, man. With that voice, and you're dating someone, you want to be on a phone call. Hello.
I will concede that they have had their place in history, but I, for one, am looking forward to the future of our text message overlords.
Oh my God. I rather, like, when I'm cleaning or driving somewhere long, catch up with somebody. Boom. Put them on. Quick phone call, 30, 40 minutes.
That I'd be okay with because I'm stuck. Yeah, that I'd be fine with.
It is against the law to text and drive. Yes. If it's against the law, I guess I'll do it.
If there's a place where I'm forced to not be able to do something else and I could, that's fine. Totally fine. Yeah. And in fact, it would be enjoyable.
Yeah. I feel like I talk better than I text, so I guess that's it. I just like doing that. I don't know.
Hello, ladies.
I'm old. I like being face to face. What's up? What's good? What's happening?
Mouth to mouth.
Mouth to mouth.
Hand in hand. Man to man.
Wow, I like this podcast.
Let's quickly rush through a complicated, difficult question, and then we'll wrap.
Okay.
Jim B says, I've recently purchased an Oculus Quest 2 and I've had a grand old time playing all sorts of games. Nice. I found it difficult to return to flat gaming since. However, something about VR has started to bother me. When playing VR, the violence in games like The Walking Dead, Gorn, or Blade and Sorcery feels somehow more real, more visceral and tangible. While this makes the experience of playing those games fun in the moment, it also left me with a bizarre, almost uncomfortable feeling after putting the controllers down. The violence in the games isn't abstracted through a control scheme anymore. It's something you perform on other virtual actors with your own hands, fingers, and movements. Do you feel that the dissolution of abstracted control schemes in VR could renew the argument that games cause violence or pose an issue in VR gaining mainstream appeal? Or am I just a crazy man overthinking it?
I think it depends, right? With a gun in VR, you're still just pulling a trigger, like an analog trigger like you would on a controller. Yeah. So I don't think that's any different. I think you're thinking about melee or stuff.
know an uncomfortable lot more about guns after playing VR games. I did not know how to operate a gun. I've never fired a gun. I've never been to the range here in America.
I still don't think you would fire a gun in a range just because you used a VR game.
It's very different.
I agree, but I did not know what ejecting a round did. I did not know how, like, the explosion of the gun itself pulls the thing back that makes a spring go up. Like, the mechanics of this machine.
But you can also watch a movie and get that information, though. You can also watch a show or a YouTube video and get that information, though.
Oh, you don't see, like, John Wick be like, oh, wait, I forgot how to reload this thing. In video games, when your character picks up a gun, they usually immediately know how to use it. In VR games, you actually, like, have to... I was playing Pavlov yesterday, and the reloading is so much more complicated. Aiming down the sights is so much more complicated. I feel like I know more about how guns work. I actually know more about why marksmanship is a sport, because lining a big thing up to your face and being able to eyeball where the tiny little dot is going to go is way more harder when you're not pointing and clicking on bad guys with the mouse. Like, it's a very different procedure that has given me knowledge I kind of wish I did not know.
I think it's still overthinking. I still think if you're a stable mind that you still won't try to kill someone because you did it in a game. I still think that.
Oh, right.
I think it's the same as if you were driving a car in a simulation inside of VR and you didn't have a driving license. You're not going to necessarily, or even slightly, know how to drive a real car.
And you're not going to run over people because you played VR GTA. You know, it's just not.
But now you know what that, like, looks like from a first-person perspective, right?
Sure.
Do you guys not remember that? Did you not have the same reflex I did? The first time I picked up a gun and pointed it in VR, my brain was like, wait a minute, George. We have rules, George. You're not supposed to do this except in a very closed environment. Like, I had to work through a bit of reflexive hesitation. And also I do want to contextualize how The Walking Dead, they point out The Walking Dead because in The Walking Dead VR game, you kind of have to twist your hand through the brains of the zombie. You can't just swat at it. You dig around in there a bit and make sure to stir them around. It's super duper gross out stuff. And that might be what he's talking about there.
Squish the juices inside, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners, you actually have to stick your melee weapon onto where the zombie head is and then twist your hands. Like for every single kill. Destroy the brain. You can't just slap the brain, you gotta stir it.
Yummy. Like soup.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm not saying that I think it will make anyone more violent, so much as I'm saying if the need ever arose in my life, I might have an easier time operating a gun than I did before VR games.
Yeah, if The Walking Dead actually happened, we'll be prepared.
If 10 years ago, after a lifetime of playing flat gaming, if you, I don't know, threw me into a room full of evil bad guys with guns... If I was up against a bad guy with a gun, it might take me a couple more minutes to figure out how to operate the machine than it would now. You know, I'm still sure I wouldn't instantly know what to do, but I think the learning curve is a concept here that should be taken into account. The learning curve would be smoother.
So the question is, do you like what you've done? Do you like the VR shooting? Do you like pulling the trigger, George?
To be honest, I like how VR games so often don't have you shooting things. I like how VR games make non-violent interactions more mechanically complex and fun. And yeah, like a game like Lone Echo that has no violence. You can have a VR game that's just puzzles that will still feel like a rousing, exciting, dangerous adventure. Like putting together ships in space that could crush you if they fall on you. I feel like I'd rather fear that kind of oblivion than, you know, the bad guy with a gun.
Yeah, I feel that.
But like VR first-person shooters are so much more physically demanding that I feel like that's one of the reasons why it might not be as ubiquitous and popular in the VR gaming landscape as it is in the flat gaming landscape, is that holding your arms up, like you're stressing your muscles, you're tensing up, you're closing one eye. Yeah, the closing one eye, I think that's a big thing. You never close one eye when you're playing a flat game. When your actual body is closing one eye and looking down something that your hand is holding up to that eye, the first few times I did that in VR, my brain was like, George, this is not something this is not a motion your body is supposed to be making. Was that just me?
No, no, I never, I never did that, but maybe I'm just a violent, crazy, man beast, I guess. I don't know. I just never.
You're not a violent, crazy man beast.
I don't think of games as a. I don't automatically. I'm not like, oh, I should go get a gun now. Like, I don't think that way.
Remember when you got robbed and you weren't like that? Yeah, like you've been in that situation where you were up against bad guys with a gun and you still were like turning the other cheek. You're fucking Jesus Christ, man.
Oh, please. No, I'm not Jesus Christ. Now the whole thing that happened in Aggretsuko where that fucking horse guy was trying to, that I'll break his neck. But like, woo! No, like I was more concerned of like protecting the house and getting like a security system and stuff like that. But I'm not gonna get a gun. Like, I got a gun and what? I'm gonna kill someone? I don't know, man. I don't know if I'm ready for that responsibility. I don't know if I'm ready for that.
No, like, for as popular as guns are in America, I don't think a lot of people internationally know how it's still a really niche thing that most of us are never, ever gonna have to cross paths with in real life.
Good, keep it that way.
And my body felt weird when I did that. I did not expect that I would be stretching myself into those poses, you know?
What about you, Leah?
Yeah, you've been quiet.
I have. Because I don't believe VR would do that. Yeah. I don't believe you can train yourself to do stuff that is that complex.
No, like, I agree. I just feel what he's saying.
I think something you said about the learning curve, like you're skipping a few steps ahead, might be true in terms of just general feel and position of your body and your eye. I don't know how accurate that is. I don't think games can inherently make you a violent person any more than movies can or TV shows can.
Right.
I think if you're an inclined person to be like that, these things might
instigate it,
trigger you in some way. Yeah. But I don't think you can ever. I don't think media or video games can do that to a person. It's also been scientifically proven in some cases. Studies have shown that it doesn't even induce anger outside of competitiveness.
Yeah.
And guns suck.
Like, really think about that. How many normies play Call of Duty?
A lot. It's extremely popular. It sells as many copies as the Bible.
And they play a lot. If that were a fact, everyone will be violent. There'll be shootings all over the place. It would be chaos here. But like, these people on the news stations just don't really put those together. Like, yo, you know how many copies?
You know what happened 15 hours ago when school opened back up in Arkansas?
What?
Shooting. And wait, you know what I'm sure is gonna happen eventually, probably sooner than we would like. I would be more surprised if we go 10 years and this doesn't happen. I almost don't even want to toy with the idea. But can you guys imagine what would happen if there was a mass shooting and the shooter claimed to have trained for it in VR games? How the...
Eminem made me do it. Eminem made me do it.
I think you could get to a point where you could train people in VR, for sure. I think you could. But you could also train people by paintballing, right? And paintball is not going to kill somebody. And somebody who's into paintballing definitely is learning more about shooting and being outdoors and training and body position and equipment than anything that VR could do. But I think you could get to a point if you made specialist equipment, backpacks with VR headsets, and you had wide enough spaces where soldiers could walk around and stuff. At the end of the day, guns are lame. UK, thankfully, and Japan, thankfully, do not have gun culture at all. I have fired a gun before, but it was a farm rifle for like shooting sheep and foxes.
I just want to shoot an M1 Garand. That's it. I'm good with that. I'll be done.
I'm happy if I never fire a gun in my life. Totally fine with that. Don't want
Yeah.
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 Let's get out of here, gunslingers.
I never knew
Blah.
Blah, blah.
how guns work until VR. Like when you pull the slide back and the round pops out, and you can also shoot the trigger and the explosion pulls the slide out and pops a round out. It's the mechanism of that is something that I don't think I would have picked up on if I never got to see it from that camera angle.
Oh God, George likes guns.
VR gun porn can be disturbingly fun. Like that's another thing that I think I relate to the guy on is it just feels good to reload things a lot of times.
Oh yeah.
I mean, essentially, that's just like you like juggling.
Yeah. It's like a satisfying thing to do with your fingers. You hear these nice metallic clicks and tings. Like there is a crunchy, primordial, game feely, kinesthetic thing to it that does make me 2% uncomfortable.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Oh God, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. But has this happened to you guys where you, after watching movies now, after playing a lot of VR games and you see gunfights and you're thinking in the back of your head, that's totally how that would not play out?
No.
Like I was rewatching The Matrix, and when the cops burst through and point their guns at Trinity, they're not checking their corners, they're not slicing the pie. They burst right into the line of sight, and that's not what you're supposed to do if you're trying to clear a room.
They're all powerful agents. They know everything in the room. They know where Trinity is, where Neo is.
There's like a lot of posts on gun forums about how after you get into guns, you can't watch action movies anymore because they're so fake. And I feel like I'm getting a small dose of that.
So you've been diving deep, huh, George, into this gun
stuff?
Yeah,
I was playing Pavlov last night with the new World War II weapons upgrade. And I got a little bit uncomfortable when I was thinking to myself, wow, how many people have seen this kind of visual? And that was the last thing they saw before they die. I was like looking up at bombers and there were buildings bombed. It was a recreation of the Battle of Stalingrad. People went through that shit.
What is happening? All right. Well, we'll see you guys next week for another episode of Dad and Sons.
It's a valid discussion. It's important to talk about these things.
Goodbye.
Dad likes guns.